Hello everyone. We are going to start our unit 10 and that will be our coordinate systems. So we're going to cover our coordinate systems. There's three different ways that we're going to use. It's called our absolute, as you can see right here, our relative, and our polar right here. So we're going to have these three different ways of inputting our information into our CAD program. So it's AutoCAD's coordinate systems, as you can see right here, and there's the Cartesian coordinate system. Okay, with this chapter, we're going to have a few more things besides the coordinate system. We're going to add text, which means you're going to be able to type your name into the file without having to write it, by hand. Then we're going to see how we're going to print. And then we're going to look at something called the dynamic input in our status bar. Okay, so that's going to be our introduction for today. So basically what the Cartesian coordinate system is basically a way of locating a particular point of in a location in a space, in a given space. So we're going to explore the three different ways of inputting your information. You're going to do the absolute right here, which is the XY value. We have the relative, which is, you notice that it has the at symbol right here, at X comma Y. And then we have the polar, and now it goes at, but instead of having an XY value, it has a distance, and then it has a less than angle. So we're going to explore each one of these individually. Before we start with our absolute value, there is going to be one particular item, as I said a little while ago, called dynamic input. Right here under our hamburger right here, our status bar, we have this icon right here. If you place your cursor right here, you'll see that it says dynamic input. For now, we're going to turn this off. We'll work with it next unit, but for now, for the purpose of simplicity of making this a little bit easier on everyone, we're just going to turn it off. So turn this off. So we're going to turn off our dynamic input. We simply click right here, because if you guys recall, when we have the icons right here, when they are blue, that means they're active. When they grayed out, that means they've been deactivated. Okay, so we're gonna turn this off, and then we're going to actually look at the first of the coordinates, in this case the absolute coordinate. Okay, so this is AutoCAD's coordinate system, Cartesian coordinate system. We said that this simply allows us to locate points in space. So let's move to the absolute system. Okay, so we're gonna go to absolute right here, and this simply gives us an XY value. And so when we look at this one, we simply look at our coordinates in terms of X and Y. So you can see the X right here. X is going to be to the right and to the left, and we're going to go negative. Then we're going to go to the top, or up and down if we are going on the Y direction. Okay, everything is in reference to the 0, 0 location called the origin, which will be right here, and everything from there will be positive on X, positive on Y. If we were to go in this direction, that would be negative X, positive Y, negative X, negative Y, positive X, positive Y in this quadrant right here. So for now, we're going to go here, and we're going to insert our information in this regard. Now, under the absolute method, everything is in reference to 0, 0. So you can see there's 3 points right here. Okay, so that means that the very first point right here is going to be in reference to the 0, 0 XY axis. Now this 4, 2 is the same thing. It's in reference to the 0, 0, and the 1, 3. Those are your coordinate points. So those are going to be in reference to 0, 0. So how do we do this? How do we enter our information? Well, we simply go to our home tab right here, and then we're going to draw. We're going to draw some lines, and now that we know how to draw lines, we can do either a line here or a polyline. We already know these two. If you're still not sure about the difference between these two, perhaps the next lecture I will pick on that, and I will show you the difference and what you can do with one or the other. But for now, well, let's just say that we are going to draw these 3 lines, or we're going to connect these 3 locations with a regular line. So I'm just going to order my line command right here, click line, and my command line right here is going to say specify first point. Okay, so my first point, as I can see right here, it's a 2, 1. So I'm simply going to type 2, 1, and then enter. See, I can see that my first line started at 2, 1, because that's 2 from the 0, 0, and then 2 on the X, 1 on the Y. The next point is going to be 4, 2, and then I hit enter, and then you can see that my line connects to the next coordinate point. And then from there, it looks like I'm going to go to 1, 3. Then I hit enter. And then if I want to go back to 2, 1, I can either type 2, 1, so 2, 1, then it goes there. If I undo this and I want to just enter, I can always do a C for close, so C, enter, and it closes to my original starting point. Now, if you happen to interrupt those lines around here, when you hit close, it's going to go to the point that you last started your lines with. So if you did not start right here and went all the way around and got to this last point and then close it, then it's best to just input the actual coordinate numbers. Okay, so that's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna simply input x, y values. Okay, it's always in reference to the 0, 0. That is our absolute value, always in reference to your 0, 0, your origin. Okay, so that is our absolute method of inputting our information. Trust me, if you don't know how to do absolute, relative, and polar, you basically don't know how to input your information, because there's going to be that time when you have to know where those particular points are. So you want to make sure that you know and you understand how we're going to input that information. Okay, so this is the introduction to our AutoCAD's coordinate system, the Cartesian coordinate system, absolute, relative, and polar, 3 different methods. For now, we have covered the absolute method of inputting your information. Always from the 0, 0 in reference to 0, 0, and then from there you go and find your coordinates. So in order for you to draw or create something under the absolute method, you always have to first locate your coordinate points. Once you write down all your coordinate points, it's a matter of just inputting each one of those so that you can follow the particular object or pattern that you need to draw. Okay, we'll continue with relative and polar.